Rated E for everyone.
Hey everybody, Scraft here. Welcome back to the channel. Going to be looking at the Mercedes-Benz Truck Pack in this episode. And a big shout out to Giants for sending it over for me to have a quick look at before it drops on the 9th of September. Now let's talk about DLCs because first off, overall, the first few we got weren't my cup of tea. I'm not saying they were bad, other people like them. But I have to say, the Mercedes-Benz Truck Pack is something I am interested in with the the MB tracks and everything, but also the trucks. And first glance of placing them all down, very impressed. Same goes for the DLC we're going to be getting at the end of the year on the Scottish map, Highlands Fishing. I'm not too fussed about the fishing side, but I am looking forward to playing a Giants map and properly trying to do a Let's Play series on a base game map, as I see it. You know, a Giants map, should I say. Not really a base game map, but you know what I mean. It's a Giants map, and I'm looking forward to actually getting a good Let's Play series going, because most of the time with base game maps for me, I play them at the start of the launch of a game and then move on to a modded map. So yeah, talking about DLCs, I've been a little bit disappointed personally up until now, and that brings me on to the Mercedes that we're looking at. This truck pack, it is absolutely brilliant. The amount of detail that goes into each one of these models for starters is impressive. There's probably a few things that if you looked at and you've got your own maybe MB track, you might sit in cab and say that's not exact and everything like that. But I'm overall impressed, and there's a few things that stand out for me. And I just love the options, and I know a lot of people are actually excited for this. So, yeah, let's take a look through all the equipment. I've kind of spawned them in order of what you'd see them in the shop. And we've also got some of the attachment trailers over there that we're going to go try out. But I think mainly I'm going to focus on the actual vehicles and how they perform, as in, are they immersive in cab, the sound effects, and what it offers. But before we get into that, let's just quickly go into the shop menu, go right down to the Mercedes-Benz Truck Pack, open it up, and you can see everything that's on offer. We start off with this Mercedes-Benz. It says it's a bumper. I'll try that out in a second. We've also got this custom front loader that can actually go onto the back of some of these tractor setups. We've actually got 4 MB tracks here. We've got the 700 all the way up to the 1800, which is the turbo one. And the one that stands out for me the most is this. I just love the bonnet. It almost reminds me of a fast track, but you can actually have on this maze grid as well as an option. I really do like the look of that. And yeah, you can't customize the color on this one. You can on another one, but I really like it. Each one's got obviously a range. This one starts at 110, but you can go all the way up to 150, which is 150 horsepower. I just love the look of this tractor, and the sound effects are brilliant. So if you want something a little bit more vintage, because this is technically it's not really vintage, but it's definitely not a modern tractor. Honestly, these are brilliant. And then we've got the biggest one here, which would be the 1800, and you can change the colour of this, but for some reason, I just don't like the bodywork on it. I actually prefer the one before it. If they could have the same bodywork, it'd be awesome, but I do like it in this black colour over here. This kind of the black with the silver kind of trims and bits and bobs. Yeah, super impressed with that. Really like the look of it. So honestly, some really good stuff to be added to the game. And this, we got the Unimogs over here, this one as well. And then we've got some of the trucks that come in. Some are obviously just kind of like standard Mercedes-Benz trucks, whereas others are a bit special because they can attach on to like these trailers. And this one is great because if you want to go out in the fields and actually attach equipment to, you can do that because it's got like hose connections, PTO at the back, you can see it there, hitches and everything. We'll get through each individual, tractor, and as soon as we got the one that I put attachment on the back for a front loader, we'll try that out, which I think is this one. So this is like the third one along in category. You can see they're all different sizes, And yeah, this being the smallest, that one being the largest. But let's start up. We're going to sit in first off and start her up. This is the 900. I've gone with the highest horsepower for each individual kind of tractor. So that's the 1815, and then we've got the 1100, and then we're down to the 900. So this is 90 horsepower. But a classic, definitely a classic tractor. And because Giants have made it, you know, it doesn't look bad at all, does it? It's well detailed, nice paintwork there. Pretty cool. So in cab, again, loads of detail. Nice, but listen to the sound effect of this. It definitely just sounds like an old school tractor because of the fact it just got that kind of nice purr to it. And it is a beautiful tractor. It really is. So, yeah, if you want something around the yard, it turns pretty well. You know, if you want something around the yard, doing a bit of shunting work or something like that, this might be the perfect tractor for it. Let's just quickly check if this bumper is for a tractor or for... Yes, it is. So you can put a bumper on it if you want to protect the paintwork, I imagine, or maybe even shove bales around. Maybe definitely a bit of shunting work. But yeah, really like the look of it. We haven't got any custom controls or anything special going on. It's pretty much just the standard and the smallest MB track on offer. But you can see in cab, you can see the indicators, dash lights up, things you'd expect to see from a Giants mod or a Giants actual model. But yeah, I like it. It is stunning, absolutely stunning. Mercedes do go all out, don't they, when they make something? They don't faff about at all. Like some of these trucks that they've made, they just thought, what can we do to make one vehicle do everything? It's crazy. So this one is the second along the MB Track 1100. So this one will have 110 horsepower. You can see they're getting bigger now, and you've got that standard kind of paint colour to it and the setup. This one, though, honestly, if you look at that, it reminds me of a fast track body. For some reason, that bodywork stands out to me. And if they could have that maze guard there on this 1800 with that, you know, that colour setup, I think that would be my favourite. But they're just stunning. Let's jump in this one. See if it sounds any different. Doesn't look too much different in cab. Pretty much the same setup. It does sound different though. It's got more of a purr. Yeah, definitely sounds different. You can tell that you're getting a bit more horses now under the bonnet. Again, all the standard in-cab, what you'd expect. Indicators work, levers work, gear sticks are moving, you know, as we're thinking, even the pedals, brakes, clutch, everything. Things you'd expect to see from a Giants model. And it does add to the immersion, so, you know, you want to, I mean, really, in 2025, it should be expected nowadays to have that kind of standard of modelling by the actual game developer. Yeah, definitely. Just trying to think if there's anything else I can show you. There's not really much. I mean, it's pretty much just a really detailed model of an MB track. So let's go on this one now. This is definitely my favourite. Like I said, it is definitely just the look of it. I do. So this one in cab does look different. You can see it's almost more simplified, if anything. But we got. The only thing we can do here is change the driving direction, which is useful for using the front loader attachment that we're going to set up now. Let me just turn that off again. I was talking. You know, actually sounds... Yeah, the sound is actually more quiet. So, definitely, so far, I think the second one's my favourite sound effect for the engine. But I like the fact that it's got that open pipe on it. It's still a beast of a machine. It really is. Checking cab, lights and everything like that. You can see even the switch moving. Gear sticks, everything. Pedals, as you'd expect. And if we put the indicator on, we can see that. Spot on. Spot on. Right, let's attach to the front loader, because this is interesting the way it's done. What we need to do here is, first off, change the driving direction. Just like that. And now forward is this way. So don't get confused. If you press reverse, you're going to go what originally was forward. So we can attach to that, and there you go. So it's pretty good because, you know, you can have a front weight on it, and I like that because if I've got this at the back and just lift it up, I can still connect to a trailer, change my driving direction, front weight's on the front, you know, gives me a nice balance whilst using, you know, a trailer or something, like a bale trailer, for example. You know, unhitch from the bale trailer, change the direction, and now with my bale spike and the front weight, I've got something to counteract as I'm like maybe loading and unloading the bales. So, super cool piece of kit. It really is. I think that for me would be something I definitely want to use, especially for bale loading, because you can imagine just coming up to the trailer, grabbing your bale, reversing out. And like I said, if you've got a front weight on, it works really well because you don't have to move the front weight. Because if you've usually, say you got a front weight on, and then you've got to swap it around, put it to the back, but if you've got a trailer on, you can't carry it then, so you have to put it at the front, but then you've got your front loader, so you have to drop the trailer off, swap your weight around, just so you don't tip too forward when you're picking up bales. So I like it for that reason alone. It's just, it makes everything just work a little bit better, doesn't it? Super cool tractor. Right, so let's move to this final one, the biggest one, that has got the nicest paint job. I will say that. And it's 180 horsepower. Right, let's start her up. Not bad. Definitely more detailed in cab. I feel like there's a lot more going on. Decent sound effects, and we should be able to change the driving direction on this one as well, because we can also set up the front loader attachment on this too. So you've got it on two options there. I mean, you might even have it on them too. I'd have to check. But I'm pretty... I don't know. I'm sure that it is just the two. So the first one definitely doesn't have it. And then this one also doesn't have it. So the only thing it's on is the 1500, the 1100 to 1500 one, and also the biggest one, the 1300 to the 1800 one. So you can have on both. But look at that. What a tractor. I know a lot of people are going to be using these MB tracks. They're stunning, aren't they? They've done a cracking job. And yeah, the only thing we can do in cab is just change the direction. There's no like interactive controls or anything like that. But yeah, 180 horsepower. Will definitely do the job. You know, 24 miles an hour though, if you wanted to do like karting with it, it's going to go a little bit slow, but that's not too bad, is it? Not too bad. Right, so let's move on to these, the Unimog trucks. These are interesting. Very interesting. These are pretty much the FS version of a Swiss Army knife. So this is the Unimog 2400, and it's got the best patterned seats you'll ever see in FS. Look at them bad boys. Almost like they were made in the 70s and should be your carpet and curtains as well. I imagine this sound effect's going to be pretty good, like an old school truck sound effect. And it is. Really nice. I mean, it is a beast of a machine. It's only small though, isn't it? It's almost like something that should be doing 4x4 off-roading. And you can, yeah, can't tip at the moment, but it does hold. I think it's only like 2,400, hence why it's called 2400. Oh no, it's 2,200. It's 2,400 because it can go up to 240 horsepower. But it's 2,200 it can hold. You do have options though to turn it from the agricultural platform to like just the frame, and then you can also do, yeah, so you can do it to the frame and then just change the size of the engine and so on. You can also put a 3-point linkage on the back though, and you can change the sidewalls to a flatbed so you can put bales on. It doesn't hold much, so depends what you're going to be doing, like 2,200 litres in game. I probably wouldn't do much with that. It's not a big enough volume for me to think that it's worth, you know, having the bucket. So I would probably make it more likely a flatbed if I was going to use this. But I don't know if I'm going to use this. Not because it's not good. It's just, I think practically I can use other things. But yeah, it's a stunning piece of kit. Don't get me wrong, you could technically get this and, you know, put something on the back and do a bit of work. It's, you know, it'd be good for spreading and other jobs. So it's not bad at all. I like that. Changing the lights and you can hear the dial clicking. So that's a nice feature. Same with the indicators as well. And the gear sticks are all working. So that's good as well. So yeah, you can't fault the detail. That's one thing I will say. When Giants make a model for us to use in game, it's definitely got everything that you'd want. It's got all the nice textures to it. It's got all the nice modeling, the animations, you know, the movement of all the parts. Paint job as well is good. You know, you've always got sort of some of the conversions that we're seeing on Mod Hub, you know, that don't actually have. I'm sure some of them don't have like the wet look on the paint and the water droplets. You know, with this you do get that, and I can show you that quickly. If I just go wetness, put that to full, we should now see you've got the paint work. The one thing I wish Giants had put back in is what they showed us at FarmCon, which is when it's raining, we see it on the windscreen, and the wipers actually have an effect. I really don't know what. I still don't understand why they took that out. If it was to do with like maybe console restrictions and like, you know, trying to get it more optimal in performance-wise for console, then just make it as a mod. Make it as a mod for PC or something, because, you know, if you can't put it on console because it's, you know, too demanding, yeah, bring it to PC players, because it's a feature that really stood out to me. And then, you know, they dangled that cherry but took it away. So I think they really do need to bring that. But very impressed with it. You know, again, can't fault Giants on this one at all. Very impressed with the work they've done. So far, I'm not seeing too many issues. There might be some. They'll use ears, but they'll get fixed, you know, quick enough. But yeah, I can't fault this. I actually can't, because I know a lot of people are going to like it. There's you know, some really decent additions to it. It comes with, well, I think 17 additional machinery items. So, you know, you can't fault it at all. So now we're like on the more modern Unimog, this U5 3S or U535. Obviously, this is like the modern upgrade, I imagine, to that one over there. I prefer the paintwork. I do like this kind of like black, you know, the darker colours. I did change that. I did change that myself. It's got, you know, 3-point linkage on the back, everything like that you'd expect. But what I like the most, and you'll see this in a second, in cab, we have some super cameras now that really can be used, hopefully by modders going forward, to help us maybe with, you know, reversing, stuff like that. But also, I just like the idea of having an inbuilt camera. There you go. So you can see that camera in the center there, that center console camera up at the top, is pointing down at where the 3-point linkage is. And it's a live feed. It's like having a different camera in the vehicle. So like this isn't a camera setup. This one's also a camera setup. But that one's like set up to be just visual there. And we've seen mods moving towards that recently with like the GPS stuff, the live interactive maps and stuff like that. So it's nice to see Giants thinking, well, we can do something similar. We can put some live feed cameras in there. You know, the more modern vehicles get, the more they move away from like wing mirrors and stuff, and then they're inside the cab, and we'll see that in a second with some of these trucks. So I really like it. But yeah, it's again, really detailed model. We've got, I'm just trying to see if we've got anything. We've got straps at the back we can do. We can change the tip side, left, right, and so on. We can open the sides, so if you want to load on, which is pretty cool. And then you can load here, but we can't see the tip because I don't own the land. I've literally only got Easy Dev on, and yeah, store delivery, Easy Dev, which I didn't even need store delivery anyway, but I've got that and the base game and then this DLC, and that's it. So beacons as well on top and in cab. Let's have a look at everything. Lights are all working as you'd expect, indicators, so on. And we've got, well, there isn't really any animations for like pedals and stuff like that. There might be one there. Yeah, there is. We can see the accelerator turning, but because it's like an automatic, you know, you're not going to be seeing any gear changing, but it is a rapid machine. 55 miles an hour is a fast machine. You know, if it was on the road and karting, dragging a trailer on the back, you'd know about it. And it has got, you can see there's a hitch there, 2 styles of hitch, 3-point linkage. Just trying to see if it's got a PTO. I think it might have a PTO. It's underneath that thing there, so yeah, because it's definitely got a PTO at the front. And it looks that way. It's even got a camera, you can see, just there. So super cool, really cool piece of kit, and you know, it sounds pretty good as well. I know a lot of people are going to be using this. Will I be using it? I don't know. It depends. If I find a good use for it, I will. But I actually prefer the older school vehicles. That's just how it is. Like I prefer the sound effects and everything. But I can't fault it. It's a beef, you know, it's a machine and a half. And if we go into the store, you can see the extra details on this one. Again, an agricultural platform, 37,500 just for that. That is insane. And that's the standard. So just to get 37.5, to get what looks like the exact same to me, really. Just it's got a paint job. I might be completely wrong there, but the standard, you know, doesn't look too bad. It's just got a paint job. And then you can also just have the frame as well. So plenty of options. Just trying to see if I can see a PTO. I don't think I can. Oh, I can. It's right underneath there. So there is a PTO, which you'd expect as well. And you can see it can go up in horsepower. You've got the safety frame option, warning signs option down here. And you can have like painting things, bigger fuel tank, 3-point linkage on the front, which is crazy. Because now you could pretty much have a big mower setup, front and back, butterflies, and you're off, aren't you? You're on your way. Right, so let's move over to the trucks. Some of these trucks I know a lot of people are going to be excited about, and for good reason. They are super, super detailed trucks. We can't fault the modelling. It's not probably 100% precise, I don't think. There'll be some 3D modelers out there that go, oh, they're missing this tiny little part here and there. At that point, it's a video game, so it still looks amazing. And I can't fault them. And in cab, they also look really good as well. So let's start off with this, the smallest one out of these. I think it is. Well, it's definitely the smallest out of the proper, just normal transport trucks. This one's a very special truck because it can do a lot of things. But this one is the Oryx. The Oryx, I think it is. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, apologies. That's the only time I'm going to pronounce it, because they're pretty much all got around the same name, aren't they? Yeah, they pretty much have, so we'll just call it that once, and if I got it wrong, at least I'd have to keep butchering it. So, in cab, you can see that it is pretty much a standard truck that you can hitch onto. We've got nothing on this one to connect to them trailers over there. We've got two coming up, though, and you can see that, yeah, they are properly good. I mean, I am tempted to use it. I was going to get a truck and trailer setup on my Saxon and Let's Play, but, you know, having that with one of like a few of them, maybe I could put them to the side of the fields. The harvester can drive up, which is why I've got a harvester out. I wanted to test that out and then load up and go and sell it. I just thought it'd be good at the end just to take one of the trailers and go sell it and see how it performs. But yeah, let's start her up. I mean, it's got to be... I mean, it makes you think how comfy it is now to drive a truck. I know it makes sense because when truck drivers are driving for hours and days on end, aren't they? So you'd want them to have that comfort. But they are very nice and modern inside. And you can't fault that. I mean, it's a stunning truck. I mean, put it this way. If that was a mod that someone dropped on Mod Hub, it would be very popular. And people would be praising it. So, yeah, you can't fault it. You can't fault it at all. Let's go to the trucks and you can see. So this is the one we just had a look at. Goes up to 625. Got some custom options there. Mirrors, paints and everything. You can put a front guard on it. Just on the lights. So, you know, a few extras there that you can customize. Then we've got this one that we're going to look at soon. And then you've got a couple as well that are much bigger. You can see that these are like the Actros L, and then this one with that Tektrum RS21, which is obviously the lifter. This one's got the Tektrum RS26, which lifts as well, but it's the two different types of trucks, aren't they? The Actros and that, so. Let's have a look at the next one. But this is the version of the truck we just sat in. The difference is it can hitch on. So you can see pretty much in cab, it's the exact same as what we saw, but we've got this little kind of controller inside, and that must be to control this grab at the end. So what I'm going to go and do is I'm just going to go and grab the blue, this blue one over here, and just to see how it works. I'm hoping it's a smooth, simple process. You'd hope so. Before we back up, let's just see if there's any controls. We can lower the arm. And then we've got, it looks like we've got like an option to push out this rear bumper, which is pretty cool. Got a truck horn, as you'd imagine. So, if we back now to this, after we've lowered it. Steady. Wait a minute, did it... It did, look at that, you see that? Oh, it just moves on its own. So it knows you're in the right place. I do like that, because it makes you think that you're actually doing something. It's not just press this button to attach. So now we can load the container. I actually really like that. I'll be honest, that is super cool. Now it looks like a proper like tipper truck, so yeah, super cool. Again, can't tip to show you, but I will show you in a second with one of them when we go and sell. But how cool is that? So it's nice that you can do it with both of the trucks on offer. That one. So it's the Oryx, I think it is, Oryx, and we've also got the Actros. So yeah, the Actros and the Oryx. Right, well, let's move over to the Actros. But before we get into it, I just want to show you there is a few options with the way we can get this. So there's a configuration, basically. We've got the standard one right now. We can go to up to edition 3. And if you look at them, it's changing quite a lot of the bodywork as well. You can see it's got horns on and stuff like that. Then you've got the Extent Plus, which, again, is an extra. But then you've got the Pro Cabin that looks really quite modern and streamlined. It misses out a lot. If we go back, you can see it changes quite a lot when you go to the Pro Cabin. So I've got the Pro Cabin outside. It even changes the seats, the covers, everything. So that one that we're looking at right now is the Pro Cabin. So we'll jump in, have a look at it. And the mirrors is what stands out for me with this. I love the fact that the mirrors are technically monitors and they're showing you a live feed. But what I like about it is it actually helps you reversing. You know, it's not like having a mirror and that you look at. Like, you can see where you're at with this. And I love that. Like, we could try and get really close to this just because of the fact we've got the mirrors that are helping. Oh, I mean, that is close. That's probably too close for comfort. And also, you got to think as well, it actually gives you more space because your mirrors are on the inside, so you don't have to worry about knocking your mirrors off or anything like that. But what a super cool truck. So if you've got, so if you're playing a safe game where you're using one of these trucks with a big trailer on and you're carting all your goods and stuff, that might be the truck to go for. Right, so let's look at the same version, but now with the lift on it. In fact, we'll save that to last because I want to end on this. Let's look at the Oryx, but yeah, let's look at the Oryx first. But this crazy truck that's basically got like PTO on, hydraulics, hitch, everything. It's crazy. It is crazy. It's a mental truck. We'll put it that way. So if we go to in there, you can see we get the option to put the sun shield on, front guards, just on the lights. We can change if we want the front bumper painted or plastic. There's two options for the painted, and we can also change the grille color from painted to plastic as well. And then we can put some warning signs on and take them off. We do have some options to paint, but it's just the rims. So you have to have it in that green, which for me, I'll be honest, would probably put me off. Because, yeah, I don't think I'm going to use a truck anyway to kind of hitch up to like a setup, but it should allow you, with all that's going on, to actually set up to like a mower, for example. I'm sure it is. Okay, so it doesn't. So I'm not sure then what this would actually set up for. I'm sure I've seen some pictures of this mowing. Right, so I've just checked the pictures, and the mower can definitely go on this. I've seen it. And that green truck is pulling a baler. So I'm surprised it won't connect to the mower if it's pulling a baler in one of the pictures Giants have sent out. So I'm going to get a baler in and just check if it's because you're not supposed to be a mower or something. I don't know if that would be the case, but this should definitely be able to do a bit of mowing. Look how... I almost find it comical because it's crazy. It is crazy. Mercedes-Benz changing the game forever. Get yourself a truck that goes 55 miles an hour and do a bit of mowing. Oh, God. I mean, it's a fair setup, and if you get the front one on, you know, you're flying. You're well happy. And you could do it that way. But I kind of just love traditional farming too much to want to do that, you know, more than once, let's be honest. I'd rather have a tractor and a mower hanging offside for me. Just stuck in my ways, I guess. That's all it is. I can see the appeal to it, though. It is pretty cool. But let's just try this out. Should be able to get a baler. Right, so I've just checked. It's pulling this chrome square baler, not a round baler. So we're going to try. We're going to see what happens. It should do the baling. I mean, can you imagine if you start baling with a truck? I mean, if that is the new norm, then fair play. But, yeah, look. Look, it is as well. So it won't connect to a mower, but it sure as hell will connect to this big chrome baler, and you can, you know, get that done. I do think that's crazy how it kind of connects that PTO there. It is clipping through, I will say that. So, but then again, these guards will probably, you know, bend a little bit. Just probably can't emulate that in the modelling somehow. I don't know. But look at all these hoses as well. Mental that it does that. But it just goes to prove, like, if you want an all-rounder that'll attach to your trailers, you know, do its kind of job a standard truck would do, then, you know, want to pull a baler, well, there you go. You can definitely pull a baler. But anyway, let's get to this. This is probably one of my favourite things, I have to say. The MB track stand out. I love the fact that MB track over there can do the front loading. You know, put a front weight on and then switch around. It's now back weight and counteracts picking up bales, but you can still collect your trailer for your bales. It's really good, that is. I like that a lot. But this, as you can see, is a super nice truck with the, you know, wing mirrors, cameras inside the cab. We've now got the control to load on. And I'm going to go try do this with the biggest one. I would like to change that colour. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have to see if I can do that because it's the green. It's the green. I think this is the largest one, 39.5. This one's also 39.5. So let's just see if we can change this. We can. Thank God. Thank you. I mean, I'm actually quite happy about that. If we change it to a jet black, it's probably going to look the best. 9,000 for that's actually a bargain. Now this one's. Just trying to think why this one's more money. And I like the fact you can take the decals off as well. It's a nice touch. I'm just trying to think, is it the way it tips? Because it holds the exact same. It looks like it holds all the fruit types. This one also looks like it holds all the fruit types, but it hasn't got the same back door, has it? This one is like a door you have to open, almost like a shipping container. So really, that has to be the best one for, like, say if I was using it for grain carting, and we'd go, because of the colour I've got this set up, go with the jet black. Let's try and load that and then get the harvester to empty into it. So we're looking for one with the door on, which is the bar one. Now, what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and do this with the mirrors. So I'm going to lower the arm. Hopefully I can see it coming out. As of now, I can't see it. It'd be nice to have one of the mirrors, like one of the rear mirrors in the centre as well. But, you know, if we know we're there, because... Let's just go forward a little bit and see. So you can see it there, the trailer. And I know I'm backing up to it pretty much flush there. I'd like to think anyway. Let's just have a look. I'm literally bang on, aren't I? Really? Oh no, I'm a little bit off, but not too much. You can still connect to that. And then we can load the container. You can still see it in cab moving up. But it's, yeah, obviously better outside of cab because you can see a lot more. But look at the size of that now. That is a beast, and it's hanging over the edge. But it'll still do the job. It's just a lot of weight for it. So let's get the harvester to unload into this. And then we can go and sell it at the... Yeah, sell it at the sell point down the road. There we go. So 39,000. I'm going to fill it up massively. I'm going to fill it up to the brim. I want to see how it performs at full load and take it. But I love the idea of that, because what you could do is you could have two of them, containers, drop them off by the edge of the field boundary. Harvester can come and unload in them. You can go take one while it's still got one to load into, drop the other one off, pick it up, and keep going. It'd be difficult to set auto drive to do that because you'd have to link up. But if you manually set up the route and then did the switching over and then just press go on auto drive, you could still use it. So you can't fault it. It's it's pretty cool. It really is. Right, so that should fill me up, won't it? Because if it's 39.5, well, it's 20,000 litres in this CR11. I don't think there's a cover option as well. There is the back bumper though, so you can... I don't know what I'm doing there. What am I doing? I'm opening that front. There is an option to move the front section to that trailer. It tells you where you can tip from the back of it, which is what we want to do. And then you could put that out, which I get why you would do it now, because you've got this extended trailer on, and yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it, to do that. But there is no cover, so you'd have to drive like that loose, which isn't the end of the world, is it? Right, well, let's drive 55 miles an hour down to the sell point, and let's go and get this sold. It's definitely much quicker. That's a fact. Right, so one of these sell points is the grain one that I've been doing, which I've been taking most of my grain, if not all of it. Is it the one around here? Just trying to figure out. I think it's this one. Or that's the bale. So anyway, this'll do the job. And we'll have a look at this tipping. I'm sure it's probably going to tip high up. You'd think it would. So I guess the other one would just have the doors opening, like, whereas this one obviously, it's like a hydraulic door that lifts up. Because it looks like the other one you've got to manually open, and I want to be standing at the back of it when all that grain comes out. Or, yeah, super cool. I mean, it'd be good for potatoes and things like that. Definitely would be good for that. But wow, really impressed with this pack. You can't fault it. You can't, not at all. Right, well, there we go. That's pretty much all the equipment in the pack. Very, very happy with this, I have to say. Like a lot of times, including myself, I give Giant stick for some of the stuff they've done. I have, it's constructive at the end of the day, and, it's what it's about. You've got to be honest. But I personally can't fault this. I actually really like this. What they've added in, I think, is good. It's a nice addition to the game. It's worth the money, in my opinion. So, yeah. Can't fault it at all. And I think it's the first DLC that we've seen for FS25, personally, that I find that's, ticks the box for me. That is just a personal preference. I understand that other people disagree there, but just for me, I like this a lot. What I would like to see, though, talking about like maybe year 2, because you already know like what's going to happen at the end of the year 1 season pass, I'm looking now for Giants to start diving into the gameplay elements, like precision farming, for example. I want them to bring out a DLC that actually enhances on the gameplay features, what we can actually do with all this equipment. Because it's all right having all these new shiny things, but what are we doing with them? It seems like everything to me, and that's the one bit of criticism that I've given FS25, is the fact we haven't had anything really new to do. And I'd love to see a DLC that adds and expands on the gameplay, even if it was something like soil compaction, aeration. You know, there's different things that can be done farming wise, and I'd love to see that. Could be an expansion to the animal side of things, you know, the details that go into there. I'd love to see something like that, and I'm hoping for that in year 2. Very impressed with the Mercedes-Benz Truck Pack. I know a lot of other people from the comments that I've seen going around the community are excited to see this. Let me know in the comments section what you think. Do you think it looks pretty good? Are you excited for it, or are you just not too fussed about it at all? Either way, I'd love to know in the comments section what you think. And if you found the video informative and helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you, everybody.